Hello everybody all over the world, and welcome to HiGPS 367. Yes, being quite a few of these. So in today's video we'll talk about what the thumbnail says, 5 CP pub, what makes you win. So this is a demo from when we played the balance mod a good while back. Like it's from, I think it's from like, yeah, like almost 2 months ago. Yeah, it was in the middle of September. We played Sunshine for some. I just picked this one at random, and I've been going over this a couple of times. So what we're going to look at in this video is to see exactly how battles go the way they do in 5CP. Because in 5CP, you kind of need a better understanding of how things are going in the match. Should you defend? Should you attack? And this video is going to be peppered with a lot of like small tips and tricks you can do that literally takes no skill to do. It's literally just do the thing. It's like, look out your window to see if it's raining instead of walking outside and becoming wet. You know, it's that kind of tips that you might not necessarily think about. You just kind of do without really thinking about it. So we're going to look at that today and see exactly what kind of things or actions happens which makes you either win or lose a push. Basically, and this is in a pub setting, of course, where there's no like real communication between the teammates, and all you got to do is like pay attention to what your teammate is doing and what the enemy is doing, right? And we're going to see that today. So we're just going to hop into the game here. People are now just joining. And I'll be primarily focusing on free camera. We're not going to focus on anyone specific throughout this entire game. It's just going to be more in the lines of who does what and like who does something that's important and who gets value out of something. Because there's going to be more videos with more examples and stuff in the future where I'm going to talking about more the in-game economics of TF2, not necessarily trading, but how you can get like good value out of your class. I'm going to be slowing it down and maybe rewinding it a bit. So right now the game has started, so everybody's just hauling ass towards the middle point. I've slowed it down here. You can see like here's the blue team and here's the red team. So what's very important in Team Fortress 2 when you get here is occupying space. So we can already see that red is here first. So what this means is that red here, the Devilman and the soldier, can basically walk forward and take high ground however they want. Everybody knows that if you take the high ground, you're in a good spot. So you can see that already red team has 3 players pretty much in the front here, and the blue team now just has a couple of scouts. So here you can see that as like right now the mid fight is just about to begin, and we can see that if you look at the class composition, you can see blue team is pretty pyro heavy, while as the red team is pretty medic heavy. They have a lot of support. They have a sniper, spy, 3 medics, 1 soldier, 1 demo. So they have a lot of healing, but not necessarily a lot of kill power. While the blue team has a lot of kill powers if the pyros can get in range. Right? So that's what's important. So we're going to take a look and see exactly how this first mid fight goes, right? So we have the scout here, who actually just goes down below by himself and doesn't really engage much in the fight here. Now keep in mind, all of red team has literally just walked. All they have done is just hold that W key and they've walked to the middle point. But it seems that they are better at walking to the middle point than the blue team at this point. And this scout, despite having the opportunity to engage the other demo in the fight, actually gets cut off from the rest of his team and just dies. Right, that's the first thing that happens. What he did is that he saw the demo here, and then he just dart across everything, and then the rest of the team was here, and then he just fucking died, right? Not the optimal play to just run past the entirety of the other team and then getting killed. Would have been better if he picked the fight and actually defended himself, but he actually didn't do anything. So now they're down a player. So you can see there's a lot of presence here. We also have Yutzil here, who's going to be playing a big part here later, building a sentry. So here there's a lot of stuff happening, but basically what's happening is that blue team, despite getting to the point last, is now controlling sort of the middle point, but you can see there's like 3 of them, right? And there's a heavy on the flank here. So literally if all of red team just moves forward here, they will not be able to hold this. So we're going to take a look at this heavy on the side here. It's getting pressured. Medic is getting pressured as well, and then they just get overwhelmed. Like it happened that quickly just because they were 3. And now you can see it's like, okay, all of red team's alive and only 4 players of blue team lives, right? So what does blue team do in this situation when, for some reason, they were last to the point, they had the first person die, but they were able to take control of the midpoint, except there was only 3 people left and everyone else was just dead, right? So now, this information of your entire team just dying is very easily accessible by just holding tab, right? And already you can see like, so if we look at the points now, this is looking like a total roll, and people are gonna be like, scramble that shit! When that's maybe perhaps not the best case, because you can see here with the class composition, the enemy has 2 heavies, right? And 1 heavy can kill as many pyros as he likes, and they also have 3 medics. So the heavy's not gonna die to the pyro, so the fact that people are sticking on pyro is probably the reason why they're losing. So now they have to defend, and since they've lost so much ground so quickly, there's no way they can defend this. You can see here, it's just a spy and a scout, and all of red team is just coming through here. So of course some people are gonna try and defend. You can see here there's 3 pyros, 1 with a jetpack, 1 with a shot, like this guy has a shotgun, I checked before, and 1 with a scorch shot. So can these 3 pyros hold this? And the answer is no, they're just gonna die, and red isn't gonna lose a single player. And then we have Jameson here, the scout that died first, goes in last, and now kind of blue team is just kind of running into red team and dying. And red team has suffered just minor losses, while now most of blue team is dead. And also we have this heavy here just by himself, and it was like a 1 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Of course you're gonna lose. It's just a bunch of numbers, right? You're 1 and they are 5, ergo you lose. So I don't think it's gonna come to a much surprise here that the red team is just gonna absolutely destroy here, but they don't win as hard as they should, because it looks like some defense was held there, but then just kind of they going in. But here red team is kind of making a mistake by just not going to the point. I mean, there's only 4 people alive. Red team just has people respawning, and we have the soldier here coming in, and somehow red team spent a lot of time just going on the point. They should have had that if the pyro managed to walk up these stairs, which you're going to see they're going to be the bane of your existence. And somehow blue team holds this. How? What happened? There was only like 4 guys up, red was pushing in, and then they just held it. So what happened? So we're gonna be doing some rewinding. So I'm gonna go back a little bit. Gonna go back a few thousand ticks, and we're just gonna take a look and see exactly what happened. Because this isn't blue team defending well. This is red team fucking face palming at the finish line. All of them. All right. So here's the part where the heavy dies, right? So here we have all of the red guys. We have 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 red guys here just at this point. And we have Essen here, Demo Knight. What's he gonna do? If he charges in here, he's just gonna die to the heavies. So what does he do? He backs off, and he's like, "Welp, can't do anything about that." So here, if you just saw this, right? All of red team is here, and all of blue team is here. Like blue team is literally just spawning, and they are primarily pyros. Who's gonna win and capture? Red, of course. So let's just see what happens here. So red comes in. They're pushing forward. They have coming from 2 sides. Literally all of blue team, for the most part, except these 2 are rotating over here, are on the right side. So then we have an exchange here where red gets 2 kills, and then the pyros manages to get in range and actually kill the heavies, staying alive long enough to actually take a couple of pyros with them. So they trade, but they trade extremely inefficiently. And then, as you can see here, there's literally not much left here. But then you have this soldier at full health. He just kind of backs, like the point's open. Blue team has nothing. There is literally nothing there. So why are they retreating? Well, it's because they don't know that nothing's there. How do you know? Like, let's look at the Kreforb, this soldier here. Like, he sees this, right? So he doesn't know what's coming, and he also has the gunboats. So that means if he commits, he has 4 rockets, or 3 if he makes a jump, and then no follow-up. Maybe with the melee weapon, but that's not optimal. So due to his choice in being like a jumper, he really doesn't have the sustain, and therefore he thinks he probably can't really contest this. Then he jumps in and just goes on the point anyway, and then gets bullied off as the respawn waves come in. And then they jump back up again, and somehow the heavy decided that going to the point was a bad idea instead of just going next to the point and dying. And then most of the red team is dead. They're kind of like in the spawn. Here's like we have a sniper here, we have medics shooting needles, and we have the soldier out of position. We have a pyro coming in here. Like, this pyro will be able to do something, and they're just on the point. But here, the biggest enemy of all mankind, this little ledge, and he's like, I'm holding forward! Oh yeah, right, it's straight. And then he dies. And here comes in the quick fix. Of course, you can't cap with the quick fix. And then respawn wave comes in, and there's 2 pyros, and just everything just dies. And red team almost have it. So here comes the crits though, and you know, follow-up crits. Not gonna be able to stop this, and they just die. So red team won, but they should have won in the first push, not like the third. So now we're gonna have a scramble. Of course, if you look at the points, like I would say, you know, people are like, oh, points equals skill, which is in some extent is true. Like if you're good you're at the top, and if you're bad, you're at the bottom. But points also show how many things you've done in the game, basically. So if you look at, you know, look at the points, it looks like just red did more stuff in general. And there was 3 players on blue team that didn't do anything that, you know, contributes a point. No extinguish, no assists, no kills. They didn't do anything. So they were effectively dead the entire time. They were basically like just speed bumps. So now we've done the scramble. Teams are a bit more even now. So let's take a look and see how the second engagement goes, now that, you know, teams are a bit more even and not so one-sided. Now keep in mind that the reason blue team lost the way they did was because they had improper positioning or engages. Like, they started the game by just a scout just running across the entire red team and just dying. That was their start. And then they had the part where 3 of their players were holding mid, but the rest were dead and not there. And then the 3 that were alive didn't fall back, so they were effectively dead at that time. And then they died later, which means they were dead for an even longer time. Yes. So anyway, second round, we're gonna see who comes to mid at first. So here we have the red team. So you can see here, actually now, it's a bit more even. Like we have Scout, Soldier, Demo, and we have Scout, Soldier, Demo. Except that one's a Demo Knight. So we're gonna see exactly how this fight goes. So first thing you gotta do when you take this fight here, so now you can't just go, it's not like the first round where you have all of mid to yourself, right? Definitely just taking high ground can work, and you're trying to figure out where the enemy is. And how do you figure out where the enemy is? Well, you just look. You don't have to commit anything. You can just go like the scout here and the pyro. Yeah, that's where the red team is, and the red team's like, yeah, blue team's over there. We know where they are. So let's take a look and see how this first engage goes. So we have a pyro in the front here who, if he goes any further forward, he's gonna die because there's a heavy there, and he doesn't have any support. However, he does have the jetpack, and he barely just survives, right? So now this pyro is super fucked. Like, he has 6 health, so anything will kill him, and he's kind of trapped here. So in this position, it's like, okay, I kind of overextended. I almost died, so how do I escape with my 6 health? That is crucial. So currently, this pyro is the forefront of the blue team. He's the one that's putting on the most pressure, and for the red team, it's this soldier, and then we have this engineer backed up with a heavy for some reason. So this pyro decides that the best course of action is just continue pushing on with the 6 health, run into this engineer here, and the fact that this pyro, well, he's dead now, but the fact that this pyro actually just walked forward and he just didn't care about dying actually forced or triggered kind of like this response from the red team to just kind of fall back for no reason. Which allowed the blue team to just kind of walk on the point, take high ground, and do whatever they wanted, because the only player that was defending was this soldier, and he's like, well, I can't stop 6 guys. You know, I can kill 1 and then I die, and while all of my team is back here. So that's exactly what happens. So there's some counterplay trying to be happening here. Some demo coming in, doesn't really get anything. This soldier was in the front by himself. Dies, and now kills is pretty even. I mean, there's 3 for 3. And now blue team kind of has the advantage. They can go forward here. So, as we can see, like, the flanks so far is pretty empty. Like, there's not a lot of pressure there. Spy comes in and does actually something very good. So this spy here, let's see if we can find him. He actually made up for being a spy, because as a spy, I'm gonna talk about this in a later video, but as a spy, in order for you to justify yourself being a spy, you have to get 2 kills. Or get something equivalent of 2 kills in terms of making players not be where they want to be. Like, chase you, like if you can get 1 or 2 players to just chase you, that's fine. Or you get 2 kills, which he did here. He got 2 stabs, he got panned cakes, which is the heavy, and he got Herbrian, which is a medic. So he got a heavy medic, and he got away. So he did a fantastic trade, 2 for 1, or 2 for 0 actually, because he actually didn't die, and then he gets out of there too. So now you can see here, just by, it's 4 players left alive for red, and mostly is alive for blue. So that's a pretty big deal. So now blue has a lot of room to just go forward and do whatever they want. This teleport, get spotted and take it out. We're gonna see later just how impactful and important teleporters are. And here comes the blue team. They're gonna go in and just go push, because there's literally nothing stopping them, and you just walk forward until you don't see the enemy. So quick fix coming in here, gonna be killing, but there's a lot of red here, and there's just for their spawn. And you can see this push doesn't really do much. There's just the numbers aren't there. We have the spy here. He needs to get something. He gets pancakes again, but then he gets spotted and dies. Crits Krieg, Natasha, Speedy Boy coming in. Big pushes here, and they're just gonna take it. That was a fairly straightforward push. I'm gonna be rewinding just a little bit to just see exactly what happened on this push, because what happened there is what happens in a lot of games, is that one team gets this momentum and then they just kind of roll. And you heard a lot of people say this, like, oh, you get this momentum. TF2 is a game about momentum, but what is actually happening? What is actually happening? I think I need to go even further back. Let's see, yes, here we go. So what happened in this game is that the blue team got an advantage because of how they engaged in the first fight, and they maintained the advantage throughout the entirety of the round. So here, if you just look at who's dead, right? So here, blue team has a slight advantage in terms of numbers. You can see that people grouped here, they're just 3, while there's 3 pushing on pressure, but you can see they're getting cut off from the rest of the team. And then they're just dying. But you can see, like, both teams have casualties. So it's not like one side is winning the battle continuously, but here they get a couple of kills, and this pyro is not gonna, yes, he's not gonna get the kill. And then we have the spy, which you just saw. So here, they are just pushing forward, literally nothing red can do. So what can red do in this time? Well, let's see how they muster this defense, because if you just look at the tab, right? If you're a red team and you hold tab, you're like, all right, can we defend second? With what? There is literally nothing there. All we have are these 2 guys, which are here. So, big respawn wave coming in, and now you just need to fortify, right? So we have soldiers and scouts and 2 medics, and you just kind of need to be buffing up your classes, right? So what you need to do in this situation is that you need to get the medics behind the power classes, the soldier and the demos, and just get everybody to full overheal as quickly as possible. So this spot has the highest high ground, so it makes most sense to defend from here. I think that's why, like, they kind of rotated over there naturally, and then you have one soldier just kind of, he's going to be like, this pyro buddy guy is going to be like a speed bump. And he kind of acts that way because he kind of forces the unhinged gamer to use the quick fix. And then we have a fight here. On the side, they win this because it's like 6 versus 1. And then, as you can see right now, it's fairly even. And then red team, actually they have a pretty good defense. However, this sniper should be in scope. He's kind of just running around with the SMG, not really being the threat level. Like, shooting SMG at quick fix medic isn't really going to do anything. They're on the point, but they don't have a lot of sustain. You have this heavy here who's just doing an amazing job. He's just doing so much damage. So as long as he stays on the high ground and doesn't walk off of it, he's in a good shape, right? Just being on high ground is good in general. But here comes a crucial pick, right? The spy, this heavy, is offering so much like protection, and then he dies. So that's very good spy play there. Like, it doesn't matter what happens to the spy. He got one of the cornerstones, and now the medic is busy, like, going after the spy, and this crits comes in, and now they have to hide until the crits is over. Because it's a Natasha speed heavy, they'll be able to just take as much ground as they want and just kind of go through everything. So basically what happened with that momentum is that, yes, they had a defense. However, the enemy team, because their medics didn't die, had Ubers. And then also, like, the cornerstone, the most important player that they had in that situation was their heavy, because he's the only one that kind of will keep players from committing too much. Like, soldiers won't jump as much when there's a heavy firing. And the fact that the spy got him, like, whatever the spy did after getting the stab, doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter. The spy could just kill binded, and it would have been fine. However, the spy stayed alive and made the medic kind of focus him as well, instead of healing and stuff like that. Don't think they would have won, but just goes to show that just like that one crucial stab when you have this much momentum is pretty important. All right, so blue team won that one, and then with the power that they had, they are feeling cocky, and people calling for scrambles again. You know, if you lose. So once again, we can see here, huge advantage here. We have Rock being the very fastest here, which means he can just start pooping out sticks and kind of force people back in the choke. So by being first, this demo alone is forcing most of red team. Like, you're not going to walk into these sticks, right? You're just going to stay back here in the choke for a little bit. And while he does that, it would allow the rest of his team to move forward. So it really, like, that engage could have gone better if there was more people with the demo in the front. But very good play here from this soldier here. He just takes the high ground. Then we have someone going on the flank here. So let's see how this engage goes. So right now everybody knows where they are. Kind of blue team being a bit more aggressive. You can see red team just being a bit more careful, hiding further in the back. If you look at the class composition, you can see that neither team is very super heavy on one class. However, a red team has no pyro, which means they can't really stop a push from happening here. So we have some engages here. We trade like 2 pyros for soldier. And then something interesting is going to happen here. So you can see that the medic is already dead. And how did that happen? Because there's a lot going on. It's just so much. It's like, you know, 10 players on each team engaging at the same front. So what exactly happened? Like, how did the medic die? So we're gonna take a look and see that, because the medic is probably the most important class that you have going out to the middle fight. So we're gonna have a little look here. I'm gonna put the camera on this end so you can see, because we focused on that end before. So we have the players just moving forward here. So here you have almost dead Pyro in the front by himself on the left-hand side. This isn't like the smartest thing to do, right? So and then we have the medics and stuff on this side. And then it's like, what you want is to have the medics behind your power. But this medic kind of just like, I'm gonna follow the Pyro, who then runs into Essen here and then dies. And right, there's just a spy here, and the medic is in the front with quick fix by himself. And oh no. All right, so super overextension. They lost their Pyro, they lost their medic. They do have crits coming in here on this heavy here, who's going to be able to clear things up, but this medic just gets launched into this sentry and dies. So now blue team has no sustain, and they just lost everything. So once again, I'm gonna rewinding this because I think this is such an interesting thing. Like, oops, shit, I hit a 0 too much. I think that was just such an interesting push because you had people that were nearly dead, just kept pushing the... What's happening? Alright, this is... Okay, you've seen this before, right? So I mentioned Yutzel here, and he's actually going to be doing a very good job here because he's going to be one of the crucial engineers in this game. Just like, not that what he's doing is very impressive, it's just that he's an engineer and he has that effect. So he builds a sentry here. What this is going to do is going to protect any kind of bombs and pressure from applying in this area. And then of course we have the pyros and stuff going forward in the front here, where the medic is going to follow and run into Essen and die. That's what's going to happen here, right? So already here, we're trying kind of evenly, and you can see that blue team just, they have the point. They're on the high ground, and they kill the engineer. So going in with Kritzkrieg here, gonna go in, and then, of course, people are gonna be like, hey, Market Garden's good, right? And they get the kill, and then the medic gets launched in, I think with the smiley face demo, dies, and then when the medics die, they just kind of get overwhelmed by the people hanging back in the choke, and then they lost it. Just by this really strange engage where they had the high ground. It's like, we have the advantage, we have the high ground, we have the point, let's move forward and die, kind of thing. So instead of securing the point, they were like, yeah, we can finish off whoever's left, and then whatever was left killed them. And now it's advantage for red team, and they're going to be able to capture this point. Having a bit of a SMG saxophone solo here. So now, blue team kind of has to figure out what they need to do. This Pyro is by himself and just being annoying, just doing some mind harassment, not really committing. Here comes the red dudes. And what kind of defense can blue team muster here? So they do have a lot of players here, and they have reinforcements coming. However, they don't have an engineer, while red team does. And that's going to be such a huge factor, because it's not like red team is super duper outperforming the other team. You can see actually blue team actually has more points than them. So here comes the crits. Of course, it's going to be very devastating. And they're going to be going in here and just putting on a lot of pressure. And now there's literally nothing stopping blue team except this one Pyro from just literally just walking on the point here. However, TF2 is a game of missing information, and when they're attacking, they don't know that. They don't know where they are. So they're just going to rotate around here, and they're going to meet this little group here. Going to use an Uber and just go in and just clear this. And red team's going to push in here, but going to run into a Pyro that wastes this Uber quite nicely, just with air blast. You know, if you're a Pyro and you just want to waste an air blast, all you have to do is just point at them and just right-click. It's not particularly difficult, and it will like destroy them. So if you're a Pyro and you see an Uber, your life is now ready for sacrifice. You can run forward and just right-click the enemies away. And it's really good. You kind of have to do that as a Pyro. And now there's a back cap going on here, which is going to force a little bit of a retreat here. Not much though, but just a response. And overall, you can see that red has so much here, actually, but they're just not moving forward as much as they could. They could literally just walk forward at any point in time here and just take this. And right now, despite being at a disadvantage, I would say that blue team is trading quite efficiently. They're getting the kills. I mean, this is the second crits that's come in that hasn't really done anything. And you can see that the red team, like, they're trying to push and they keep losing the fights. And the reason that red team can kind of do that, I don't even think they are aware of it, is because they have an engineer who now lost his teleporter, but they did have a teleporter in the back that just kept moving the spawn area closer and closer. And then when the engineer tried to move it, it died. But here they have, red team has, you know, level 3 sentry and Southern Hospitality dispenser. Gives it the longer range. So this sentry is just going to buy some time, just be like a, kind of like a speed bump for the push here. I think this heavy is going to be able to take out this, nope, not going to be able to take out the sentry because just too much red. And now red is just kind of cementing their forward hold here. Keep in mind this isn't competitive, so none of these, like, this is very little coordinate. Everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. And now the teleporter is back up again. And they didn't really lose much of an infrastructure. So far it's just trading back and forth, and now you can see that blue team is kind of on the back foot here. They don't have too much. It's just a medic and a ambassador spy who somehow managed to backstab a heavy. But yeah, the medic dies late, and now we're going into the last push here. So let's see here what red team is going to do here, because blue they have a foothold, so just walking in here is going to be difficult. However, if you don't defend the last point, the scouts can just run in and capture at any point in time. So nobody was watching the point. This area was not covered, and me, the scout, just literally ran in. I don't remember this game because it's so long ago, but I do think my thought process was, God, I hope they don't have anyone protecting the point. And they didn't, and it worked. Cool. So let's look at, this is going to be the fourth mid-fight that we have. So we saw that it was kind of a scrappy first push here. So once again, we have the blue demo being here first. Gonna allow him to just put down some sticks, put on some pressure. We have Ice Bear, the pyro, literally giving zero fucks. He's just gonna run in here, run into the soldier, gonna be reflecting that, but there's more blue than red, so he's gonna be forced to back off here. Can't really heal him in time. Here comes the push though, slow, and we see that the red team is kind of like in this area, and the flanks are fairly empty. The red team is kind of just huddled around here where the sentry is from Yotzel, in the exact same spot as last time. You can actually see the sentry is getting some value. This heavy is actually gonna burn to the, nope, get saved. He gets saved. That was almost. But yeah, once again, blue team was first, and they was able to get the first point just by, you know, killing them. But here, counter push, crits Krieg, built fast, made not to last, but kind of like an Uno here, where the blue team was able to capture the midpoint and then lose it immediately. Whatever's left of blue, it's only like 2 guys, right? So they have to get, like, there's really no escape here. I spent bot deflector when he misses that rocket jump. He's so dead, and there's other pyro. Actually, managed to get a couple of kills before going down. And then there's one scout here. It's going to be pressuring this medic. Does get taken out. And now the respawns for blue team, because they have shorter spawn range, is going to be pretty substantial. So the mid-fight, while here, I'm not going to go too much in detail. It's been a bit back and forth, but eventually blue team takes it. However, we're now going to see the MVP of this game, which is going to be this teleporter. And we're going to see the biggest stupids in this game. What does your parents always teach you when you play TF2? The answer is, look both ways when going into a room where you can look both ways. And these heavies are not going to spot this teleporter. And keep in mind, red spawn's all over there. Blue team has no engineer. So here we go. So you can see a fight coming in. One soldier warps in. He's literally in the middle of battle. Heavy goes down, they secure the flank, pyro come in, another pyro comes in for the red team. And then we have I'm not sure how he got there, probably walked, and then another heavy just warps in. So literally right now, this teleporter acts as the spawn point for red team. And you can see people are just warping in, and the blue team are kind of caught off guard by this. So this soldier decides to focus on the medics and stuff, when actually in this particular instance, this teleporter is what totally saved red team here from losing this point. Just because it didn't get spotted. And now they've gotten their foothold, they have secured everything, and kind of the push for blue is over for now. However, this heavy is going to poke here. There's no reason not to poke here. Goes in, and now there's a sentry body blocking the teleporter. Ain't that smart? That's so smart. And then blue team's gonna have some issues trying to get through here because there's just so much red, and there's a sentry. Soldiers on the sides getting sandwiched. Like this little setup here, so good. And also this, like, what's this scout gonna do? He's gonna run into the sentry and be like, yeah, can't do anything about that. And now, red team is ready for a counter push. They're ready to push the midpoint here. So it's kind of like this little skirmish going on here, where they're kind of trading blows. Blue team does have the high ground, but they're going to be doing some trades here, and you can see that blue team is still suffering. However, since red team has a teleporter, they don't need to trade efficiently. They can trade 1 for 1 and still come out on top. And the fact that this demo here didn't commit and take out this installation here is going to be such a huge deal, because now the engineer's back in the fray, and he's going to work on the sentry, which is now level 2. Like, it was pretty good at level 1, and now it's level 2, so now it's even better. And eventually, once red team here gains their composure, they're going to be able to really, really push in here. Because now, what's happening now with this push here, of course, Pancake getting stabs here, but like these, the blue that were here are caught off from the rest of his team. We just have one pyro by himself, not the biggest of threats. There's a big split here. This heavy is in a bit of a trouble. Gonna be taken out, got disconnected from his medic. This medic doing the smart thing is like, well, I'm in the front, there's nothing else, we're just gonna fall back. And why this here works so well is that this teleporter is gonna automatically regroup red team without any communication. Because everybody comes out of this vantage point if they're smart enough to take the teleporter, which all of them are except scouts, because they can run, right? So they've had some failed attacks, haven't really been able to do much with it, and now there's like a sentry here protecting the teleporter, which now everybody knows is like a huge deal. Sentry gets long range sapped and pushed in, and here comes the push, right? This is a pretty scary push from blue, and they're able to get in. And eventually they're gonna work on this here teleporter and eventually take it out. They should have gotten this way, way earlier. But thanks to that teleporter, they were able to sustain the attacks a lot longer. All right, so now it looks like blue team is ready to push here. You have a pyro, like, bit of a mistake there going in by yourself. However, you don't know unless you go to check. This scout here is trying to get something done, but you'd never know how much health they have. Alright, so kind of like a counter push going on here. Soldier backing off. Right now, red team is holding this inner area. That's like the launch pad if you want to push through the last. Is that this area belongs to the attacking team. So red team, like, you really, really want to don't give up this area for free. So that's what they're doing. They're just kind of occupying the space here a lot, kind of organically. There's a lot of trades going back and forth. So this area is still being battled for, like, with no real, no clear winner. Like, whoever goes in a bit too deep gets really hurt or killed. And yeah, so here is a bit of a problem that we're gonna see, is that this medic is running quick fix, and it's going to actually not work out at all because the damage coming out of the other team is just higher than the quick fix can sustain, right? So they're still kind of battling here. You can see the red team now 2 players down. Blue team now has an engineer here who hasn't built a teleporter. So keep in mind, every time a blue player dies, he has to walk all the way from over there to here. While this engineer has had time to set up a dispenser and a mini sentry, there's no teleporter. So right now, Quell isn't being the MVP like the other engineer was, and it's kind of hurting the pressure of his team entirely, because engineer is the most influential class in the game as a whole, and just by not having a teleporter up, it's going to make pushing this so much harder. So far, blue team has kind of fought a little bit here to try and get this area under control. However, red is holding it quite well. There's constant just battling going back and forth here. They're trying to get the upper hand, like they keep trading. Like here you have the pyro for a pyro. The soldier stayed alive and he's almost dead, while these guys are almost dead. Well, he died. And then we have, you know, what's this pyro gonna do? Probably gonna try and catch someone. Doesn't really catch anyone and just dies for it. But, you know, it was a good effort regardless. But now, red team has been forced back and they need to kind of push onto the last point here. Still no teleporter because the engineer died. So in this position, if you're the engineer, I would say that when you get to this point, be like, all right, dispenser, sentry at the front line, irrelevant. Teleporter is the alpha and omega to get the reinforcements, because it just allows you to trade inefficiently, which means that you can go 1 for 1 or 1 for 0 a couple of times, and because they're defending, it just works better. Like, you will have an advantage. You can just literally, if you have a teleporter, you can throw yourself at the enemy constantly, because you have to travel the longer distance, right? So that's kind of hurting the blue team's logistics here. They're not able to get the players they need because skill-wise, they're not that different. Like, you can see every exchange, it's not like a clear winner if you're like 1v1. It's like that heavy fought someone with the medic and the heavy almost died, right? So it's not like one team is superior to the others because, you know, it's fairly even. But however, we're going to see just how much this quick fix is going to hurt. So he has quick fix about just ready to go, right? So what does the enemy have? Well, in this time, we have the engineer with a level 3 sentry. We got Luke here building some Uber. I think, yeah, this is when it gave 2. So it's pretty good. So we have the quick fix coming in here, and you can see, like, quick fix Uber cannot overheal or out-heal a sentry plus a soldier. You just die. Right, so that was an absolute failed, and also blue team only has 1 medic, and he's running the quick fix, and push non-successful. If they had Uber, they would have gotten this sentry for sure. And then we have Enigmas here. He's just kind of being a backliner, just staying in the back, building buff banner and just helping the push. Kritzkrieg now coming out here. So this is an interesting part because now Quell has actually gotten the teleporter up, and it hasn't been up for that long. But this is actually quite an interesting moment here. So if you take a look here, you will see that the red team will pretty soon have more engineers, and they're just going to really, really bunker down. Because if you don't want to lose, go triple engineer on defense, have 3 level 3s covering each other, and the enemy team will struggle to hammer past that. So once again, we're back here. It seems like, you know, pushing the last is all about controlling this area. Once again, the quick fix by not having overhealed, this heavy dies again, and then you kind of have to wait for him, but it doesn't matter because he's dead for 10 seconds only, because, you know, that's how, because, you know, blue is further away, and because when you have a teleporter, he's going to be back fairly soon. We also had a spy here who tried to sap all of this. We're just going to rewind a little bit here so to give you a look at that, because that is something I wanted to show. Yes. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find the area. Yes. Okay. So we just had the spy here, PK Begley. He just recently joined. So right now, out of all the engineer has, this is by far the most important thing. This thing right here is the reason why blue is able to keep up such a pressure. Because they have shorter respawn times because they own that point. So he goes up and just goes for a sap. And right here, he makes the biggest mistake of all. He doesn't shoot it with the pistol. He just kind of saps it and runs away. And kind of just looks at the engineer, and then the engineer just kind of fixes it. And then he knows that the spy is there, and once you've been found out as a spy, you're gonna be pretty dead. So that was a missed opportunity here. And then you can see the heavy that literally just died 10 seconds ago, he's back. Just able to churn out so much damage, occupy so much space, because if he's in the front, he can just soak up so much damage. Which means that classes like Soldier and Demo has to reload before they can hurt the ones in the back line. So you as a heavy can just do this. So here they have another quick fix. Now keep in mind, they have already pushed with this and it didn't work. It didn't work because the sentry is still there, and we know that you can't overheal or survive a sentry plus a soldier. We know that doesn't work. So here comes the Uber, and you see that the heavy can't really engage here. Enigmas misses. And the sentry just kind of stays up here. However, nice snipe here by the sniper for blue, killing the soldier. And red team is still gonna hold. So right now, blue can actually push in, but they don't. Yeah, well, not now because the demo just got sniped. And here we have the heavy taking the high ground. He's just poking through. Definitely the right play, just to keep, like, you want to keep harassing the players that's here, because this is the key to pushing the last point, and especially this high ground area. So it makes sense that these guys are here. So right now you can see that the spy that wasn't able to really do much, he's done the right choice and switched off of spy, and he's now going engineer, and he's going to help further fortify this position. So there's a big fight happening here. However, there's so much blue outside, and they still have this teleporter untouched, which just allows them to just trade inefficiently and just keep up pressure. So right now the heavy died, and yeah, it's gonna have a 16-second cooldown. So, you know, you see that people over there. Oh, that's one. And then the second one is gonna come through shortly, and they're just gonna keep up the pressure here. Sniper wisely backs out when he's the only one there. So far, red seems to be controlling this inner area, but they don't really have the means to move out, and they don't have a strong flanking game, because usually outside here it's pretty open. But we have a heavy here who goes in. He's by himself in the front. We have a soldier in the back here. Well, then there's also a pressure being applied to the medic here. There's a lot going on, but Uber was forced. The heavy just died. And, you know, who do you think is going to win this? Oh, wow. Who's going to win this? Soldier at full health and a demo and a mini sentry and a sniper and a soldier and a demo or an engineer? Or a 1.5 dead soldiers? So the answer is, of course, the team with the more players and the high ground. So, oops. Let's see. I'm gonna go rewind just a little bit. and show you exactly what happened here with the terms of like some people are attacking, others aren't, and just how that affects you in the game. All right, let's see. Yes, so here we go. So I think, yeah, this is the heavy that's going to be pushing up by himself first. So he manages to stay alive with very little health. He has a banana down on the low ground. Right now he should be going up to the rest of his team, but he decides to go and get the health back. So here they have a very good sneaking opportunity here. So what they're going to do is the heavy is just going to start shooting at these soldiers, right? They don't know he's there, and he's backed up by another soldier. So he knocks him away. And this soldier should die here. This other soldier is in the air, misses the air shots, unfortunately. But the heavy is pretty well. He managed to get the medic, and now here would be the crucial opportunity, because this soldier, Big Wish, and hopefully the medics will see these guys putting on pressure. So if they just, and the smiley soldier as well. If they, as soon as the door opened and they saw the heavy, be like, I'm gonna help that guy, let's fucking haul ass out there, then this would have been a whole different fight. But what happens is that there's a sentry here that has, well, the sentry goes down, but then there's also like this counter push here happening because the heavy died by this heavy, and then there's also a pyro that snuck past, and there's some indecisiveness from the where did the Big Wish guy? Yeah, he's actually in the back. If he just went for it, this would have been an entirely different fight. So that was just a tiny decision made by one player. And you can see that he's also not using a very sustainable loadout. Like if he had a rocket launcher with 4 shots instead of 3, he would have been able to do something else. But because, like, you lose a lot of kill power when your soldiers are not using shotgun. Like if you're using gunboats or any kind of backpack and you're losing, you could try switching it to shotgun and see if you get some better results, because you've seen a lot of the situations, a lot of the players are almost dead. So here comes the blue team. They haven't really capitalized off the push they just did when they killed the medic and all that stuff, but now you can see that there's quite the defense being built there. They have 2 level 3s. Here comes Uber, just a single soldier. Right now, if I was the soldier, I would be like, all right, what do they have? So I would have jumped up here and just see, like, because keep in mind, this thing is the sole reason why blue is able to keep up the amount of pressure and just throw away players the way that they do. But instead, they just kind of go down there, I guess, and check if something's there. And then this lobby here is being occupied, and he's going to be fighting this sniper who gets away. No, die. Cool. So this pyro is going to run into this sentry here. Dies. It's hard to engage that when you don't have a ranged weapon. Here comes a push from the top left side. Blue team finally an Uber this time. Let's see what they can do with an Uber. The medic gets disconnected, but they do get the sentry. They get the pickup. He picks up the sentry, he's going to put it in the corner, and this heavy doesn't see it yet. He's focused on the wrangled sentry, and then he gets stabbed, and it gets repaired. So nice engineer teamwork there. And now we have 3 engineers. We have a sentry covering a sentry covering a sentry. Now this is going to be hard to break. Very hard to break. So Uber coming in. This pyro here. Of course, it was the pyro that died to this one, so he knows that this is here. And right now, this is sort of like just a scouting thing. You just kind of want to see what they have here, and he runs into another sentry. And it's literally not much this pyro could do other than just run into the spawn, and the medic was also screwed. But now they know what they have. So they know that they have 3 sentries, which is going to be pretty difficult, or they're going to have 3. They got 1, but that sentry, like there's 3 engineers, is going to be rebuilt so quickly. But the red team has kind of lost their forward foothold here, and this heavy goes on a solo adventure and dies to a sniper. Does it matter though? Not really, because this teleporter is still up here, and maybe Pancakes knows this now. He knows that this is what you gotta get, bro. It's totally what you want to get. So he's just kind of dancing around it. Gets a stab on a spy, and then he zaps it, so that's fine. However, the engineer repairs it, so all he got was a spy, really. And then he's forced to retreat. So, what can the blue team do to break this? Well, first of all, you gotta get rid of the quick fix, because the quick fix is literally not helping. Where's this unhinged medic? Yeah, he's on the medic gun now. Cool. Comes a push, and They're gonna try to get something with this, and this is actually the start of the end for red team here. So they go in with this big push. You can see they're taking a lot of ground. They're putting up a lot of pressure. However, blue team has an Uber just used, and there's no follow-up. Why? Well, this heavy is disconnected from the rest of the push. He kind of, instead of going here where the rest were, he kind of branched off onto himself and didn't really do much. Then Enigma's goes for a jump here and kills one of the engineers that was just here for some reason. Her brain has 48% Uber. He would maybe been able to get 2 Uber saws off, but that wouldn't have been enough to get the Uber because you needed 50 and he had 48. So the medic dies, and now most of red is dead. There's 4 guys plus some sentries defending this, and the blue team actually has a spy with them. So here comes the push. So what happens is that the push is going to take all the attention, this pyro here, and this spy, medical scare, is just going to run down and sap this sentry. Let's see if I can make it normal speed. Yes, sap this sentry. And then literally just walk to the other sentry, sap that too, and then we have TF2 bot collector, the demo, just kind of going in and taking care of this. And then most of red's dead, and it's going to be very difficult because there's so much failing for a red team here, like on all fronts, especially what comes up now. So here it is. There's only a few moments left, and once again, the biggest enemy of all. It's going to be this tiny little nook here, as the smiley demo doesn't get to defend. But there was a lot that went wrong here for a red team in a row. Like, absolutely, just absolutely wrong. So we're going to watch that again and see exactly what went wrong, because there was a lot of pieces. It was a lot of what different players were doing that just allowed blue team to go in. And then again, blue team had a very good last push, but the push was based off mistakes that red team made before they got there. All right, so let's see, where are we now? We are, yes. So this is right before the heavies and stuff decides to go outside. This is when Pyro Buddy is still alive here. This was the heavy. He's gonna go down here by himself. So I want to focus the attention on this heavy here. So he's in a bit of a trouble here. Yeah, he's gonna die, yes. So it's probably the next time he respawns. So far, they have the level 3s. Yeah, he's just about to build it here. This isn't a good spot, this isn't a decent spot, and this isn't an okay spot as well. Right now, they keep in mind that when the engineer are there, there's 3 players that's not in the front. So ideally, I would like to see these engineer kind of move the sentries up here to kind of help with the forward push. But then they need some space in the other team to give them some of that space in order to do that. So here comes the Uber. Pop very prematurely. This Uber does nothing. So this is kind of the first bad thing that happens, is that the Uber that they pop achieved nothing, which is unfortunate. So here, we have the heavy, just kind of going out, just putting on some pressure on this other heavy here. And then he's going to go back again. He's not dying, he's staying alive. Here comes the first push, right? So this is the first push that we mentioned, like where they go in with. This is actually a very good push. However, there's no follow-up. The heavy, he isn't in the fight where he needs to be. There's a soldier and an engineer in this hall, 2 engineers in this hallway for some reason. They need the assistance because they've spent all of their resources. They're able to get some kills. And you can see this heavy kind of walks off the high ground. He's cut off from the medic, and he's now by himself, and he eats a headshot. I think he will be able to get this sniper. Barely not. And then this Pyro's gonna run up to him and kill him. So that was a bad trade for them, like Pyro for a heavy. It's a very bad trade. And then, because the engineer that you saw was in the front lines, he gets picked off here by Enigmas. He was just, I'm not sure what he was doing. He was running around here. Then this medic dies as well. So they, like, because of their positioning and they didn't really back each other up, blue team was kind of just able to dismantle them, right? But what happens here? Because there was 3 sentries and suddenly there were none. So here comes the push, right? So Enigmas with his patented right-click rocket launcher shot Gonna shoot and actually miss the sentry, but Yotzel picks it up. And here, he actually makes a big mistake. So right now there's pressure from this side, and there's a pyro that get put in the corner that we gave a lot of attention to. So Yotzel, he actually has the mark for death because he's running Rescue Ranger. What would have been optimal here was for him to go back and place the sentry back up here. Instead, he's going to try and rotate over to this side, but then this demo fires this sticky and kills the engineer and the sentry, which is unfortunate. And then kind of like they lost their one of the strongest defenses that they have here, plus they've lost a lot of numbers because of the failed push, and they kind of backed off. And then that allows this other spy to just come in and just destroy the sentries, and then nothing's left. And then you can see here that blue team is just kind of flushing in, red team is just coming out of spawns. And probably the biggest mistake of all is that you can see where the medics are compared to where the heavies are. So we have the medics putting a lot of healing into someone that isn't taking damage, while the heavy, the forefront, they have two of them, are taking so much damage. And this other medic got launched in the air. And you can see it, like a heavy will kill a pyro pretty easily, but you can see like this medic is just pumping this demo that isn't taking damage, and then he's shooting arrows at these guys. Well, he's burning to like their forward defense is burning to death, and then he's gonna die. And then we have the other medic though, Luke, is actually here trying his best to kind of like keep his heavy alive, and then this other medic runs across the point and gets sniped. And then it's just this heavy medic combo again. The heavy is almost dead. He went too far forward there, and then he gets panic attacked. Nice choice there with the pyro. And then it's just kind of like they've lost their heavies, they've lost their constant damage, and then the rest of the point goes in. Essen decides that, you know, this is a great spot to build a sentry, even though we have no time for it. So here it would have been better if the engineers would have switched class. Yes. So that's going to be concluding this demo review. So we saw a lot of interesting things. Like when you split up from the rest of your team, you die a lot easier. Even if you have a good push, you just die. And also we saw the importance of teleporters on both sides. We saw red team having a teleporter that just really saved them when it didn't get taken out, because it shortens the amount of distance that your team has to travel to get back into the fight, which effectively increases their value and effective time in the battle just by building a teleporter and not thinking about it. And then the last push, the reason they lost is, of course, they tried to, like, they had 3 engineers and a lot of support, and then whatever they had of power, like the heavy and the demos and the soldiers, they split themselves too thin in the attack. I think if they were together, they would have been able to push. And also the fact that the engineers had 3 level 3s at last. Kind of, if you have 3 level 3s, you can absolutely leapfrog the sentries forward slowly to kind of retake your ground. Like always having 1 in the back, 1 or 2 in the back, and then having 1 forward. So then it was a whole bunch of like engineer just kind of running forward to see what's up, and then gets killed, and then the medics get disconnected and focus on the wrong thing and stuff. And this sort of things happen. Like people make mistakes in TF2 all the time because it's incomplete information. You get distracted, you don't have 360-degree vision, and you don't know what your team is saying. So to take away from this, teleporters are good. Pay attention to your team. Like don't go alone. And for the medics, it would be heal the guys actually taking damage. And then when you have downtime, heal the people that are fresh spawn. Yes. So the reason we didn't do the Bonesaw episode today is that we recently changed the Bonesaw to be a bit better in the balance mod. So we're going to look at that later. So you still have some time. We're also going to be comparing the previous version and this version. And yeah, in the chat, don't run quick fix, period. Quick fix is kind of like this thing I made a lot of videos about where I'm saying like, don't stop using it because it has a very, very specific place. And unless you are like, this situation requires a quick fix, then you can use it. It's basically like a faster catch-up tool when you're already behind. That isn't crits, is basically what it is. You cannot use it to push sentries. You cannot use it to push chokes. And if you do that, you're just gonna die, because even with the super duper heal, a soldier and a sentry or a heavy, or a single heavy if you're close, just absolutely will destroy you. And there's no way you can do it. And also the not having overheal, amount also hurts so much because it's not like the healing in TF2 isn't as high as the damage being done. So you are never, ever going to be able to out-heal players hurting you. Yes. So, next topic is still going to be the Bonesaw in the balance mod. Looking forward to seeing that. Be sure to join the Discord if you haven't already for discussion of the balance mod and talking about this sort of stuff. We also have a Steam group you can join. Description and all that is in the below. Is where the description is. It's also going to be a raffle where we're going to give away some items that, some Halloween items that was unboxed during this update. So you get some stuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the description below. If you're in the live stream, it will be in the chat shortly. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in game. Play balance mod. Yeah.